oftentimes when we think of leaders, we think of people that are in high positions. But the truth is that that is actually someone that has a position. That doesn't mean that that person is an actual leader. So if you're someone and you are wanting to become an inspirational leader, or you want to inspire people to move them to action, then you have to actually develop yourself as a leader. And so today we're going to talk about it. So welcome back to my channel, where we talk about all things business, marketing your business, and having a balanced life to be able to enjoy what you're doing with your business. And today we're having a conversation about being an inspiring leader. And as I said in the intro, is that oftentimes we look at people as leaders because they have a position. But it is important to know that oftentimes that isn't really the person that is the leader. So I'll give you an example. So a lot of us have had a job, and you've had a job where you had a boss, and your boss had a boss, and the boss's boss, and all these types of things, right? But you've also been involved in like some meetings at your work. And while a person may have had the positional leadership, that there was actually somebody in the room that is able to move people along, that doesn't necessarily have that level of positional leadership. And so it's really important to understand that if your desire is to lead people, to actually get them to do something that they normally would not do, or to get them to do something that they need to do or you need to do, then you've got to become someone that people can see as a leader. And so I actually want to do a quick search. You know, we always like to go to Google and do our searches. And so we're going to go ahead and type the word leader into Google, and I'm going to tell you what Google comes up with. So the noun is the person who leads or commands a group, organization, or country, or the principal player in a musical group. That's a leader or whatever, right? But also it says, Merriam-Webster dictionary says, a person who directs a military force or leader, community, or whatever. But also it says, what is a good definition of a leader? The action of leading a group of people or an organization. That's how Oxford Dictionary defines leadership. In simple words, leadership is about taking risks and challenging the status quo. Leaders motivate others to achieve something new and better. So if your desire is to become a leader, an inspiring leader, then you have to become someone that is worth following. Does that make sense? You have to become someone that is worth following. And that doesn't mean you tell people, go do this, and then they do it, or what have you. It is because typically when you look at someone that is a leader, that is someone who has gone before others. Someone who has taken major risks. They've had successes. They've also had failures, right? And they come back and are willing to share with the group both sides of things. What has gone well and what has happened not so well. They are someone that they clear paths, right? Like I think about like a catalyst or a pioneer. Someone who, here is a group, right? And the leader says, I'm going to go first, and then I'm going to show you the way, okay? And so that person goes out and is willing to, I wouldn't say die, but as the person is willing to risk it all, that person is willing to do whatever it takes to figure out what to do. That way they can come back and tell the other person, and they don't have to figure that out. So one of the ways to become an inspirational leader is, one, you've got to go and do your own self-exploration, because you can't lead people if you can't lead yourself, right? And it's hard to lead you if you can't actually see yourself, the good and the not so good about yourself. If you can't see your strengths and weaknesses as a person in general, and then as a leader, because oftentimes we can see what we are good at, but we can't quite see that we're bad at these things or this thing over here. But if you're doing introspection and you are looking at yourself, evaluating yourself, and you are allowing yourself to grow in those weak areas, then what's going to happen is that you're going to be able to come back and tell a group of people, you know, what you did, what you saw, what you experienced, and how you grew from it, right? So when I look at me as a leader for business, like, I'm not the greatest leader on the planet. However, I am someone that has taken a lot of risks. I've tried this and had success. I've tried this and had failures, right? When I'm talking about people, about relationships, I'm not the greatest leader in relationships, but I am someone who has had great success in relationships and great failure in relationships. And instead of me just focusing on my successes, I actually invested time and energy to learn about my failures, why I did what I did, why what happened, and how to become better in relationships, not just intimate relationships, but even in friendships, like they're willing to do the work, right? And so even like this YouTube channel, I am someone who is learning how to build and grow on the platform YouTube. And I don't have all the answers. We're not doing everything right, but we are trying, and each day or week, month, or what have you, we are getting better. And then I'll be able to go back and reach to my community, my clients that I work with, and I can say, here's what we did right with YouTube, and here is what we did wrong with YouTube. And what that's going to do is that's going to help that person grow on YouTube a lot faster, similar to what has happened with us with Instagram and with TikTok and all the different platforms where we have had a lot of success, is because I have gone before and then I reach back and I tell people, here's what you should do differently that we just did not do, okay? So if you have a position in some type of organization and you are a leader because you're in position, it's really important to know that there's a possibility that you're not the actual leader, that you may be the person in position, but they're actually taking their cues from somebody else. That happens all the time, where we think is this person, but they actually go, well, I'm not going to be able to get anything moved through by this person, so I'm going to come to this person. And then this person has all the influence to get somebody to do something. Like, they always say that about husbands and wives, right? Where they're like, I want dad to say yes, but if I go and talk to mom about it, mom can then give me her buy-in and then she can talk to dad. Or it could be vice versa, because one of them is usually the one that makes the final decision. Now, of course, we will want both of them to make the final decision, but typically in relationships, there's typically one person that's the more influential one than the other. Doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just that is typical, okay? So if you want to become an inspiring leader, you've got to first lead from the front, okay? You got to take the risk, make the mistakes, do the good things, do the bad things, fix all the things that went wrong, and then be willing to come back and tell people. Because if you think that you're leading and nobody is following, then you're you're just taking a walk, okay? So I hope that this video was encouraging to you to grow in your ability to be a leader. I think it will be very beneficial to you. If you got questions about this, go ahead and ask me in the chat. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to hit like and subscribe on this channel. That way you're always notified every single time we have a brand new video.